Here we are, we're finally at Spider-Man 3, and this movie is highly argued over. A lot of people dislike it, and some, like myself, do like it. Again, I do like this movie, and I'll go over some major talking points I do think that attributes to people's like or dislike of this thing. But let's just be honest, this movie is kind of a gigantic mess before we get into anything. So, let's get into the plot, shall we? After the events of Spider-Man 2, Peter Parker's life is actually on the upswing. Him and MJ are an official couple. He's even considering marrying her. His job, which is still crappy, is treating him pretty nicely. And he's doing pretty good in school. At the same time, later on in the movie, Harry gets a pretty big hard hit in the head and gets the whole amnesia thing, and him and Peter are best friends again because he doesn't remember why they weren't friends. And, well, let's just say that because of the Peter Parker curse, basically some shit's gonna go down in about 3, 2, 1, and Mary Jane's not doing that good at her job right now. Basically, her Broadway career is threatened, and Peter's being too much of a self-absorbed asshole to really notice that. At the same time, a new character, Gwen Stacy, has her heart set on Peter, and so some things are gonna be rocky between him and MJ at the moment. At the same time, Flake Marco, the man who's ultimately responsible for Uncle Ben's death, as he's the one to pull the trigger, manages to escape prison after some military experiments, which he kind of just walked into. He becomes the Sandman, and Spider-Man, unable to fully stop him, gets some added assistance from a mysterious meteorite that falls down to Earth, with the mysterious black ooze that gives Peter the iconic black suit. This leads to Spider-Man encountering one of his greatest foes of all time, Venom, and with the Sandman still around, this leads Peter having to deal with one of his greatest threats ever. So let's get into one of this movie's major faults, this situation with Venom. Yes, the movie does feel a little bit overstuffed with the whole Sandman and Venom combination, but Venom is a character that really can't be done in one movie. Well, you can try, but it feels really rushed. I'll explain a bit later, but let's talk about what they do here. Yes, they did kind of screw up the whole origin thing. The symbiote just seems to fall down from space and bonds with Peter randomly. And let's be honest, that's pretty dumb. But at the same time, no one's done a true, accurate adaptation of the origins of the Black Suit, as that's tied into a Secret Wars comic, the original one, and well, that's a very long, complicated story. Honestly, a lot of people just skip through all that and have Peter encounter the symbiote through some random accident involving space travel, such as, oh, it was on the side of a spaceship he managed to touch, or oh, he encountered it this way or that way. I'm going to be honest, I do like this spectacular Spider-Man origin a bit better than most origins, as it does feel pretty good as a plot point. Now, let's talk about Venom as a character. In order to do Venom properly, you need to do two things. One, give Peter enough angst where he gives into the black suit, and two, give him enough reason to break away from the black suit at the very end. And then have someone hate Peter enough that they become Venom, and, well, it writes itself from there on. Honestly speaking, I believe Venom will make a good two-part movie. Like, the first movie, well, this one, could have Sandman as the main threat, and then Venom is the threat for the next movie. As by that point, Peter is separated from the symbiote, and now is lurking around finding a new host, and the whole mystery is who is the new host for Venom, and why is he going after, and how is he going to go after Peter. That would have led to a more suspenseful sequel. I'm just saying how I would have done things, but honestly what they did here was fine too. Just not as perfect as it could be. Another thing is the people dislike is the look of Venom. In this film, Venom is pretty scrawny. He's on the same par, if not slightly bulkier than Spider-Man, which doesn't really mesh well with the whole concept of Venom. In the comics and in most forms of media, Venom is massive. He dwarfs Spider-Man easily, as he's supposed to be a big powerhouse compared to Peter's small, slim, sleek, ninja-like movements. I say ninja-like, especially later comics where Peter actually does get some ninja training. And yes, the whole Venom face retracting every 5 minutes is also kind of dumb. But I can understand that as you know, an actor is given so much screen time, especially when they're given a major role, and if he spends most of that role behind a mask, he's not really gonna, get much screen time. That could easily just be his stunt double. So again, I can kind of get why they did the whole face retracting. I'm just saying, I don't really agree with it. Another thing is the whole Uncle Ben retcon. It's really an unnecessary change and just there to add more angst to give Peter more reason to give him to the black suit. And yes, as I said earlier, that would work if that was the point of the movie. and then Peter realizing the black suit's gone too far ends the movie. Again, I'm not saying that this doesn't work. It does work somewhat, but it honestly feels like they were just rushing a bit too much here. And they honestly do handle Sandman pretty good here. In the comics of all Spider-Man's foes, Sandman's the one that's a bit more in the moral gray. He has a tendency to be more heroic. Hell, even multiple times he gave up being a bad guy to be a good guy. But, comics and all that. But I have to admit, giving him the sick kid excuse is also really pretty weak and stupid. In the comics, he's just someone who couldn't think of a way to give himself a better life outside of thievery and theft. That's what he was in the comics. He was a minor theft. He didn't really want to hurt people, which was why he was more heroic. He wanted to be there to help people who got stuck in situations like he did. Well, not exactly like that, but he just wanted to want to hurt people. But I will also give them this credit. The whole scene of Flint Marco pulling himself back together the first time he is turned to sand is an amazing scene. It's a really damn good scene, and again, that's where Sam Raimi shows his talents with effects and visual metaphors and all that mess. And finally, we have Harry Osborn's Green Goblin. Honestly speaking, the look is okay, but again, the whole amnesia head injury thing is also pretty dumb. On top of that, the sheer amount of times he slammed his head against those steel bars, he should have come out with more than just minor brain damage leading to amnesia. He should have been in a goddamn coma. Also, the butler telling him at the last minute that his dad died of his own glider, and not because Spider-Man's also really damn dumb. He could have told him this at any time before this point. Spider-Man 2, when Harry was this stupidly hard drunk, that would have been the perfect time to tell him, hey look, your dad died by his own hand, it wasn't Spider-Man's fault, get over it. There, done, 5 minutes. All it took. But no, they wait to this last movie so Harry can have a heroic sacrifice at the end and ultimately die, leading into a potential fourth movie that never happened. We'll talk about that later. Overall, I have to say this is a pretty dumb movie. I still think it's good and still enjoyable, and I still do like it, but I will admit its faults. Honestly speaking, I do believe this movie was a bit rushed and honestly could have worked better split into two movies and not just one movie. I understand why people don't like it, but I also understand why people do, as I also do like it. Overall, I just say this is a pretty good movie, and if you're on the fence about it, I say give it another shot. Watch it with some fresh eyes, and maybe you'll like it a bit better this time. It's unfortunate the next time we talk about Spidey, it won't be in a good sense.